Good evening, guys. It's Phil. It's All Leeds TV, and we are back with another big match preview. It's a bit of a different one tonight. There's just me and my friend Chris. I am joined by a debutant who we are going to give you some information on in a minute. It's an interesting story as to why Chris is here, but I'm really excited to have him on. Obviously, we've got so much to get into over the next hour and a half, however long this takes. I honestly don't know. But Chris, welcome to All Leeds TV.
How you doing, Phil? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely brilliant to have you on, mate. So for anyone that isn't aware of Chris, and obviously you've not been on the channel before, the reason that you are on this channel tonight is we've met twice before. The first time we met, I think, was the first home game of this season, which was Everton, the 2-2 draw. And obviously that was the first game back in front of fans at Ellen Road after a long lockdown and COVID and no fans for God knows how long. First game back in the Premier League with fans for fucking 16, 17 years. Yeah. And then obviously we didn't see each other again until, unfortunately, last Saturday, where Leeds had just been hammered 4-0 by Tottenham, and you came over to us in the bar again, said hello, and unfortunately the Phil that you met the first time that was happy and laughing and singing Champions Again, Ole Ole, and that was a song that wound my missus up for about 2 weeks because I never stopped singing it. It was a great night that first time we met, and then obviously last week you saw me going through so many different stages of grief. So hopefully this is our first time of actually having like a proper conversation where I'm not pissed or just on a roller coaster of emotions. But I get the feeling that might be where we're going tonight anyway. How's your week been? Let's start with that. It's obviously been a bit of a mad week for Leeds fans, and we both have a certain somebody directly behind us tonight. Tell me how you're feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it's as you say, it's been a whirlwind. It is all about Bielsa. I mean, like he brings us the highs. We've had a few lows on the way, but just as a man, he's just incredible, isn't he? I mean, what can you say? You have good managers, but no one has sort of brought the whole community together in the same way that Bielsa has.
Absolutely. So obviously, Crumble Man, Mike and Scott have both been giving me shit all day because I refused to allow either of them to come on tonight because I wanted it to be just me and you. They seem to have taken it rather personally, but hopefully as we get into the show, people will realize why it is just the two of us. It is a bit of talking therapy. I already know how Mike feels and how Scott feels and how everybody feels about what's happened over the last week from the group and from our different videos. And obviously I've kept quiet for a week because I kind of wanted to let it sink in. I didn't want to come on here on Monday night and just cry about Bielsa and say that I'm never going to give Jesse Marsch a chance. Like, that's not what tonight is. Look, we will obviously get to tomorrow's game. We will talk a bit about Leicester, but obviously we'll do a big in-depth look at Jesse Marsch and what his arrival at Leeds means for so many different people. That I think this is a compliment, Chris. I'm going to take that as one. You're looking extremely healthy, Christian Eriksen.
I've heard that before. I mean, I don't feel healthy. I mean, I lost my voice on Saturday. We didn't have a lot to shout about, but yeah, try my best to cheer the team on, and yeah, my voice has just about come back. But yeah, I've heard that before. So yeah, take it.
Yeah, Chris is obviously here. He's had a quiet week without me talking shit because obviously I've been crying for some time, and obviously Martin as well has obviously left the channel now, and he was very much vocal in the group beforehand about how we felt about Bielsa. So yeah, I mean, look, I think I want to signpost people. Obviously, there's been a couple of articles while I've been being quiet. I've been trying to just get my thoughts onto paper. So I put a couple of articles out this week. They are on the All Leeds TV Twitter. One is obviously a thank you and a goodbye to the purest human being that made us all fall in love with not just Leeds United but football all over again. And we'll obviously I'm going to ask you how you feel about that, man, in a second anyway. But if you have got a minute, guys, go and have a look at that. And then obviously we will move on to Jesse Marsch after, but I've done a big breakdown of what I think of him and what I think he's going to bring to Leeds. So yeah, this is something that I intend to touch on, Gerardo. I don't expect to shy away from that over the next hour or so. And if you want to stay with us and listen to my thoughts, then obviously I'm going to talk about that myself. So yeah, Chris, what does Marcelo Bielsa mean to you? And how hard is, obviously I know the week's gone on and it does slowly die down and you don't feel as hurt, but how hurt were you when the news broke, and when did you find out? What was the timeline like for you?
So I think it's a bad decision for him to go. I was certainly pro Bielsa. It's been some bad results, but you wouldn't necessarily expect to beat these teams with the injuries you've got. So I wasn't writing them off as games that didn't matter, but at the end of the day, I saw the bigger picture and thought that he's the whole reason we're in the Premier League. No one else has done what he has done. I went to the game on the weekend, obviously, as you know. Wasn't expecting him to be sacked at all. Didn't think it'd be the last time I saw Bielsa. It was an early kickoff, sort of sat in the peacock before. It was quite quiet, but I kind of just thought, okay, it's an early kickoff. The atmosphere's going to build, but it just didn't. It was quite a flat all game. I guess
you didn't sense anything. You didn't feel it coming.
No, maybe a bit naive. I just thought this guy deserved to the end of the season. I didn't think the board had it in them to make that decision. I thought they're where they are because of him, and I thought it was disrespectful the way it happened. Yeah,
I think obviously we will get into a lot of that because there's so much even in that one or two sentences there to go into and delve really deep into. But one of the reasons I really wanted you on from the couple of times that we've met is like I was saying to you just before we started, that there are so many polarized opinions on Leeds United in general and on Marcelo Bielsa, this situation. And I think you get some people that are so pro Bielsa and some people that were very much happy to see him go now. And I was actually just saying about Oscar from our channel is someone that I think is really good at being able to sort of not sit on the fence, but be able to honestly have a look at both sides of an argument and take both sides and see both sides. And I see a bit of that in you as well. I'm going to attempt to do a bit more of that tonight. Looking back, and I wouldn't have said this last week, I can see why they made the decision. I still don't agree with it. And look, like you said, I think he earned the right to be here until the end of the season. And Jesse Marsch actually said the same thing himself, or along them lines. But obviously, we'll get into that. But yeah, like the human being that Marcelo Bielsa was, it wasn't. I watch the Premier League in general, and I look at Frank Lampard, the big fucking entitled baby that he is, and I look at Jurgen Klopp, and he's just a fucking whinge bag. And you look at all the managers and even some of the players across the Premier League. This sport is full of pricks. Let's be honest. Even the YouTubers like me, we're all pricks somewhere. There was zero prick about Marcelo Bielsa. He is the most pure human being that I've ever known in this game. And not just that, it was, for me, and I said to you, and look, I know a lot of people have said stuff along the same lines this week, and maybe we mean it, maybe we don't. And it's not a case of I want to see Leeds United relegated. I really don't. But the things that I had to balance last weekend were what hurts more, going down or losing Bielsa. And I'll be honest, at the time, I mean, maybe I don't feel exactly the same now because this was right after the game and just as it was starting to hit home for me. So, like, I'll be honest, the journey for me was very different. So I took my mate to the game who was a Spurs fan. We sat together and obviously he enjoyed the game a lot and I didn't. But on the way to the game, the traffic was fucked and we couldn't get there. So I had to run from Roundhay to Ellen Road just to get there on time. But on the way there, we were looking on the ticket website, and there were so many tickets still available. You could have taken your entire family. People are just starting to lose interest. Maybe that is part of the decision. And obviously, when I thought we started okay for 10 minutes, and then obviously they scored. And when that first goal goes in for the opposition team at Ellen Road, you've always had that roar of "Come on, Leeds, get back into this now!" And that roar didn't feel the same to me, if I'm honest. And then obviously it only took 5 minutes for the second one to go in, and as soon as the second one went in, for me, I knew Bielsa was gone then. Skipping ahead to the end of the game, and obviously being in Billy's bar, and you'll have seen me. I spent most of the 2 hours I was in Billy's bar just trying to get Oscar to hold me. I was sad. I was going through so many different phases of grief at the time, and I tried to convince myself it wasn't happening. But I'll be honest, in Billy's bar, I was made aware that it was already confirmed. There was a few other rumors that were circulating at the time that we will obviously get into, which we can now probably either confirm or deny. But for me, like going home that night, I went home. I put Take Us Home 2 on. And I cried, and I knew it was the end. And then obviously the announcement the day after, and this week for me has been just getting over it. Like I've got kids, and my 5-year-old has got Bielsa on 3 different walls in this living room. My missus decided to move this room around, so I've always done it in front of a different wall, but she moved it around the day before, which probably should have fucking given me a sign that it was coming. But yeah, my son's been walking to school with me every morning, and he's been counselling me. He's been going, "It's all right, Dad. We're all here for you. Bielsa's going to be okay. Like, you don't need to worry about him. He'll be happy somewhere else." I'm like, "Look, mate, fuck off. You're 5. You don't understand how much this hurts." But yeah, for me, it was a case of I didn't want to see Leeds go down. Obviously, I don't want to see Leeds go down, but the hurt that I attached to losing Bielsa it's like a bereavement. It's like losing a family member. I mean, I can't apart from getting relegated from the Premier League when I was 12 years old, I can't remember being this upset about football and about Leeds United.
No, I mean, I guess the playoff defeat came quite close. I felt that almost felt like it was the end because many.
What about you, Chris? Like, where do they compare? Like Bielsa and going down.
I'm not sure if my earlier is still okay, but I think for me the playoffs, I kind of felt that was nearly a moment where we all thought we were going to lose Bielsa because we didn't know if he had another year in him. The players after that defeat, after that game, were completely down, and it looked like it could have been in the end there. Have I lost you, Phil?
Yeah. Yeah. I apologize, guys. My Wi-Fi is terrible.
Can you hear me at all?
Yeah, I apologize if my Wi-Fi is letting me down here. I'm hoping I'm not leaving you to like carry this stream for me, Chris, but my Wi-Fi does look shit. I'll try and carry on anyway. So, what about Bielsa's legacy? What do you think he leaves behind, and what do you think the club owe him now? They've talked about giving him some sort of recognition, and what does that look like? Does that look like a statue, and where does that statue go? And can you? No, yeah, I can hear you perfectly well, but I'm worried that you can't hear me now.
I'm hearing you now.
Hello. Ooh. Can you hear me, Chris? One minute. I'll try and hotspot.
Give it a go.
See if I can get it on in another way.
I'm trying to get the comments to see if anyone can hear any of us, but
Hello? Anybody?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I've got you perfectly.
There we go. So hopefully that's fixed it. I am very sorry. That's my Wi-Fi being terrible. So I'm going to hotspot from my phone instead, and hope the bill isn't too high. So yeah, we were talking about Marcelo Bielsa and the statue that he deserves. Where's that going? And yes, Danny, the missus has changed the room around, and maybe it's her fault that Bielsa got sacked.
I personally think you've got to put the statue right front and centre of the stadium, somewhere near Billy's. I think he's deserved that respect, and
yeah,
he's taken us to a place where no one else could have taken us. Everyone, all of the pundits, all felt we needed someone like Warnock when we had to work. They all felt we needed someone like Mitrovic. We need Dwight Gale. You need all of these type of players, but this guy came in and did it his own way. There was no egos in the team. Everyone worked with each other. There were egos in the team, I suppose. Young and Saiz to a degree. Loved both of the players, but in the end, the team was better off without them because they just weren't aligned with everyone's thinking. I mean, what the man's done to Aylen, to Cooper, to Dallas, all of these players, without Bielsa, would not be playing the Premier League now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to throw this question out to you, and I'm going to throw it out to people in the comments as well. That's probably a good question from David Lofthouse. Who knows? I'm going to obviously go on that one. For me, Marcelo Bielsa trumps Howard Wilkinson for me now. He does, and I know that won't be popular, but Don Revie is obviously king in this club. But after Don Revie, for me, it's Marcelo Bielsa, and it wasn't about just the stuff on the pitch. It wasn't just that. For me, it was this club for my entire life has been a shambles, minus the Champions League stuff. All the way down, it's just kind of been. We hate. I've grown up loving the badge that's on your chest right now, but I have not loved the managers. I have not loved the players. I have not loved the board, the ownerships. I've hated aspects of this club for my entire life, and just this once, someone came into my club that made me love every single bit of it, and it didn't just like I'm the kind of person where I watch football and I feel it anyway. I feel an emotional connection to football, but. I get that from Messi, and Messi's one in a million. But with Bielsa, he gave me a love of Leeds United again, and he brought this club together. I've always said, like, in the stadium, and I felt this since I was a 6-year-old boy. You hear about Anfield and that 12th man, and they can suck the ball into their net and get a goal. I've always felt Ellen Road could be the opposite. I felt it was toxic. We can suck the ball into our own net at times. And I'll be honest, Bielsa took that away from me. He united people. He brought us together, and he gave us a club that we love. I'm going to ask you to just hold the fort for 2 seconds on that line. Baby's screaming. I just need to go give him his dummy. But can you talk about how he made you feel about Leeds United for 30 seconds?
I can indeed. I think the thing that impresses me the most is no other team understands it, and that's why I like it even more. Everyone likes to criticise Leeds. Everyone's got an opinion, mostly wrong, especially when it comes to pundits like Von Lahore. but Bielsa was just a pure man. He wanted to play the right way. He wasn't always. He wasn't interested in the results in some cases. It was just more about playing the right way and just believing that if we stick to our principles, the results will come.
Yeah, and then obviously, like I was saying about Klopp. Sorry, by the way, I'm having a mare tonight. Wi-Fi's fucked, baby's fucked. It's all mad.
Baby.
Well, but like, he didn't moan about referees. He didn't moan about decisions going against us. He got the players out picking up litter. He got the players from being, let's be honest, bang average championship players to an England international, England player of the year for Kalvin Phillips, England striker Patrick Bamford. The whole thing, everything that he did for this club was just absolutely batshit mental, well beyond my wildest dreams when he came. And for me, I do think he's achieved more. And this is in an era where money dominates football. When he came in, we didn't have this kind of money. You forget we were worth as a club apparently 40 to 50 million pounds as a club when Bielsa arrived. Kalvin Phillips and Rafinha are both worth that alone at least now. You're talking 8-9 times the value of this club since one man came in. And it's the foundations that he also lays for the people that are going to come after him, like the way that he took renovating Thorpe Arch, putting a gym in for the staff at Ellen Road. Every single part of this club, it wasn't just, I'm going to make 11 players play well on a Saturday. He improved not just every player, but he improved the fans. He improved, like, I worked for Opta for fucking 7 years before Marcelo Bielsa came to Leeds United. And he has made me 10 times more tactically intelligent than Opta ever did. And that is no criticism to Opta whatsoever. And most people that work there would say the same thing. He took my love for this sport and made it more than just love. He made it passion and something that meant so much to me. And I feel a great sense of mourning that he's gone. I honestly do. And like you were saying at the start of the show, and look, we are obviously going to come on to this. I'm more than happy to sit here and say, yes, maybe the decision was okay. Maybe it was deserved. But look, I think we deserve, or Marcelo Bielsa deserves 20 minutes at the start of a show for a couple of people to sit here and tell Leeds fans that we are right to appreciate what he did for this club. Look, I will talk about the thing that someone mentioned earlier. And the reason I was quiet for so long is because the decision and the way I took the decision, I was angry with the board. I'm not going to sit here and say I wasn't angry with Radrizzani, Kinnear, Orta. I'm angry with all of them at the time. I've calmed down a bit now, but the reason I'm angry is, like I said before about Bielsa uniting a club and giving me my club back. I felt by doing the way they did it, if Bielsa stays at the end of the season and he walks, or they sack him at the end of the season and we move on, then okay. But by doing it the way that it was done, I feel like they took my club back off me. And they're going to give it to a bunch of Americans now and blah, blah, blah. And it's the way that it polarized the fans. So when I was saying before about Oscar being someone that you can talk to and yourself, someone that can meet in the middle, I saw videos on this channel where I was like, Bielsa to go. That's not my fans. That's not, you can't put that out. And it's not just this channel. There's been other channels that have had the same problems. I know that. And like I went for a drink the other night with my brother after football, and we were sat in the pub talking, and someone overheard us, and they were completely at the other end. It seems to have polarized so many people. This fan base is split in half, and there are very few people that can be in the middle. You are seemingly either it was time to go, and it's not maybe it was time to go. It's no, it was time to go, or it's no, it wasn't. And I don't like that they've done something that has caused that division between us all. Like, that's not what you want as a fan base. And how did you take the decision? And at first, were you angry? And if so, who were you angry with?
I was certainly angry, and I'd say angry at the board for not sticking by him, especially you hear in the press that it's been going on for a long time. I think Marsh was saying 8 days ago he was contacted about the job, maybe after the Liverpool game. I mean, you can understand I'm balanced. They've got to have plan Bs. They can't just back Bielsa no matter what, because it's not Bielsa United, it's Leeds United. But
of course,
he deserved more time. No one in this club would be where they were without him. And I mean, after the game, the rumours flying around. There was still a bit of hope in me that the club would somehow make a U-turn. We've seen it before. They put something out, seen the reaction, and it's just reversed. But Saturday evening and out in Leeds and just scrolling on the phone, seeing what's going on Twitter, just TalkSport leaking it and all of this, and
that's something that again, every sentence, there is so much to talk about from every sentence, but I felt torn with the way I felt towards the club, the board, the new manager, the players, and some of that has died down over the week and stuff, but I mean, when I say torn, like, obviously we will get on to all the different rumours, and I will try and address each and every one of them, to be honest. I don't see why not. But the thing for me last week when it happened was, look, like you said, I can be balanced. I can sit here and say, like, he was his own downfall. Of course he was. It was his stubbornness. And I said to you in the bar, actually, last Saturday, like, instead of the players apparently going to talk to him about tactics and shit, and fair enough, Bielsa probably walks away if this conversation happens anyway. But if Victor, Angus, and Rads go sit him down and they say, look, man marking against top 6 clubs, it stops now. If that's what they felt was doing us this massive injustice of sending us down, go and sort it out. Because I found myself bringing up shit that I haven't brought up in ages. But Radrizzani, I mean, we can all sit and defend him, but before Bielsa came in, we had Paul fucking Heckingbottom. We were on a pre-season tour to Myanmar, and we just got a fucking badge overturned that looked like a Gaviscon advert. So he wasn't exactly the best chairman in the world before Bielsa, and obviously that's turned around because of Bielsa. And then tactically during these games, like, there has been times on this show this season where I have even I have gone and said, like, look, I don't agree with these substitutions, man. You can't keep sending Tyler Roberts out to fail. It's not fair on Tyler Roberts, and he needs to make different decisions. And obviously, playing a man marking system against top 6 clubs, all this man marking system did was put 11 versus 11 individual battles, and man for man, each of those clubs have 11 better individuals than we have. So they were always going to dick us. So fair enough, if that's the assertion that that's where we were falling down, go and tell him to do something different. And like I said, maybe he walks away anyway. But I just feel like there had to be more than just sack him. And it is literally his first bad run of form in nearly 4 years. I felt he deserved until the end of the season. And let's be honest, I'll ask you the question now. If Bielsa stayed till the end of the season, do you think we would go down?
No, I don't think we would have gone down. I still don't think we're going to go down. I think it's more up in the air now because we've gone from having 4 years where we know what to expect, the players know what to expect, to this new guy who everyone's going to give him a chance, but we don't know that everyone's going to adapt to it. Is Calvin Phillips going to be England's player of the year playing under him? Is Bamford going to score however many goals he scored last year? I really don't know what to expect tomorrow. But Bielsa's got such a good record against the lower teams.
Yeah.
Last year, we had some bad patches, not quite as bad as this year.
Yeah.
But I just strongly believe that no team could cope with the injuries we have. If you look at any team, you look at West Ham having a great season, you take out Rice, take out Antonio, take out 𝐶𝐶𝐋, 3 players, and they fall down the league. So
I agree with you.
Very unlucky.
And you've touched on it there, to be honest. One of the main reasons that I thought you don't. First of all, I don't think you sack Marcelo Bielsa. I think he walks away. That's the way this should have gone. But from a tactical footballing point of view, for someone to come in mid-season, and I know some people will say, well, he's just going to carry on Bielsa's work in a different formation. It's very hard to go from a man-marking system that's 4 years' worth of ingraining into players with 12 games remaining in a relegation battle to expect these players to adapt. And we will obviously come on to the new formations and stuff and what to expect. But I can guarantee you one thing we won't be seeing. It won't be 4-1-4-1 and it won't be 3-3-1-3. So it is a new formation. It is a new style of play. And 12 game, similarly to how people said not buying someone in January was a risk. Surely this is an even bigger risk, swapping between that and that now where we are. Surely that's a massive risk.
I think it's madness. I think I don't know really what goes on behind the scenes. So there's rumours that Rafinha wasn't too happy. So maybe he's going to suddenly get back into form. I suppose we've seen this week Bamford back in training. I don't believe any of the rumours that there's been any fallout there. I can't see that myself. But it just
from what I gather, that Patrick Bamford and supposedly the three players that have been missing, they're the people that have backed Bielsa. From what I gather, anyway. I mean, Cooper, Calvin, and Bamford, they all apparently have taken the news of him leaving quite hard. But that's my not so very in the know input there.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see what any of them would have against him. They've all been transformed because of him.
Yes.
Bamford especially. Everyone was calling for him to be dropped in the Championship. Wasn't scoring. Bielsa backs him every time, and we all saw the results. So it clearly worked.
And obviously, like I know it's pointless sitting here now and doing a blame game. And obviously, I say that knowing that I've spent a good half an hour doing that anyway. But it isn't just Bielsa as to why this season has gone so horribly wrong. And look, some people will hit me back with well, he didn't want players in January. Well, I'd like to hear that from Marcelo Bielsa himself, to be honest, because I don't believe that. I've spoken about certain players on this show, and it isn't just this season. Like, looking back over the last few years, I can name you Che Adams, Ebery Eze, Michael Elise, Conor Gallagher, Romain Perrault, Maxwell Cornet. I personally spoke to Angus Kinnear about, and I know for a fact we were interested. Rodrigo de Paul, we don't know, do we? Like, they denied it, but whatever. And then obviously in this window, it was Aronson. At the end of the day, like, Bielsa might want a small squad, but at the same time, you saw with Dan James, we've gone back for him. We clearly didn't turn our back on it because Bielsa wasn't interested, and that failed, and it was Bielsa's fault at that point. So I think the board have let him down at times in terms of what they could have backed him with financially, where we could have gambled and bought more and helped. Let's be honest, we haven't bought a fucking midfielder since Samu Sai's left. And look, he is, for me, the greatest coach of this generation. I've said before, I don't think he's the best manager in the world. I don't think he's even in the top 10 in the Premier League, because substitutions, when it comes to in-game tactics, let's be honest, he gets things wrong. But as a coach, for improving players, why not just buy him a couple of ready-made ones as well then to help him? It's not all down to one man, but it's a difficult one. And then obviously, yeah, there's so many different comments. I'm trying to read through them and see which ones to flag up. I'm kind of half tempted to just sort of, because it's too much.
Definitely on the sub side, I agree with you. I think game in, game out, I think the only negative I can say is, constantly bringing on the same players, whether it's Forshaw, whether it's Roberts, Click when he's on the bench. Just try something different. Maybe Gelhardt earlier. Just do something to shock the players and shock the opposition, I suppose.
Absolutely, and like we've said, in a way, he was his own downfall, and that's That's incredibly sad. The thing that hurts me the most that I've heard this week was I listened to the Square Ball, and obviously they spoke to John Richardson, who went down to the training ground to try and get a glimpse and say goodbye to him. And this was on the Tuesday rather than the Monday, where he did get out the car and sign things for people. And this was where he'd cleared out his desk and he was leaving, and he wouldn't get out the car. He was too upset to get out the car. And you've heard stories since of him contacting people that have bought him chocolate and tea and dropped things off on his doorstep and written back to them and thanked them all before he's left. The thought of Marcelo Bielsa being on his own in his flat crying, or being in a car on his own crying, genuinely really fucking hurt me last week. Because look, you can say this. I'm not going to flash them all up. There's so many comments that I've seen scrolling through that he was going to take us down, or this season wasn't good enough. This, that, all negative. Like, are you forgetting the last 4 years? And look, I know we don't live in the past. We have to stay up. Football's a business at the end of the day. And the thing I love the most about Marcelo Bielsa is that he stopped it being about business and about money and just made it being about the love of the game. It's annoying to see so many people not willing to. I had to listen to people from this channel standing in the bar screaming at the telly, "Get that you know what out of our club." Like, I don't want to hear that about him. No. Like, fair enough, Neil Warnock, Paul Heckingbottom, fucking Brian McDermott. I like Brian McDermott, to be fair, but there was managers where you could do this to, and this wasn't one of them. And I feel like not only as a club, but as a small section of the fan base that did it, I think people let him down, and that really hurts. And I think he deserved a better send off than what he's going to get. Do you ever see him coming back and going on the pitch and getting the round of applause that he deserves? And
no, I think the thing about Bielsa, he never makes it all about him, does it? He always puts it. He gives the players the credit, and I think that I remember when he said Hernandez made him a better coach. He's just so humble, down to earth, and he was fully Leeds. He got the club, but I think that is the end of him, unfortunately. And the thing that's frustrating for me, and just I suppose upsetting, is just how close we were to really pushing on. We finished 9th last season, and you could argue that flattered us a bit. Maybe we climbed a few places towards the end of the season, but we at least deserved 10th, 11th, 12th, and we weren't that far from them pushing on to climb into the European places. I didn't think. I mean, what other team can you say has got a good young keeper like we've got? Calvin Phillips, Rafinha, Bamford, even the centre backs we've got are fairly solid. They all have their moments. I mean, I wish we got Ben White. I think I don't know why I didn't spend that extra money to get Ben White, but
looking back, do you regret that now?
Say that again, sorry.
Looking back, do you regret not getting Ben White?
I would say so. I think he knew the club, and he was part of the setup. I think longer term it helps keep players like Calvin Phillips as well, just because of the bond they had, and you attract more players when you got that sort of I suppose positive dressing room. But I think
I'd
like
agree.
I said earlier, the fact we haven't bought a centre midfielder, we all knew we needed a centre midfielder, whether Phillips was out or not. That was a bit naive, and I know we tried to get Gallagher, but there must have been someone else who we could have got to plug the gap. I don't believe that Bielsa didn't have other options, because he's so detailed. He watches so many matches. He would have had players lined up that would have slotted in, I'm sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, mate. It's one of them. Look, if anyone is still watching that is upset that we are trying to pour so much praise and positivity towards Marcelo Bielsa, look, I know I said I wanted to sit on the fence, but I do want to just counteract what I feel has been a lot of negativity towards a man that didn't deserve it. Look, he's lost his job. I don't agree with the way it happened, but before that, I didn't like seeing anyone, this channel, any channel, saying, I think it's time to go. I think it's time for him to leave. Like, I felt he deserved more respect. So I want to take this opportunity to give him what I feel is the respect that he deserves and talk about him in what he is. I mean, we will obviously move on in a minute. We will talk about Leicester and Jesse Marsch and the future. And I will obviously caveat everything we're doing now with I am going to try and get behind Jesse Marsch, and I will get onto that at the end. But for me, I really want to ask, and feel free, guys, in the comments, if you want to send them in, I want to know. Give me your best memory of Marcelo Bielsa, Chris. Guys in the comments, same. Give me your best memories of Marcelo Bielsa.
Too many's the list. I mean, you've got the obvious, the promotion moment. We'll never forget it. It wasn't quite how I wanted it. I always expected to be at Ellen Road in the crowd when the goal went in that took us up. But I still won't forget the moments we had. I mean, I wasn't able to get to Leeds for the celebrations, but watching it online, watching all the TV, my phone going crazy, people who hate Leeds messaging, even could appreciate how big a moment it was. You don't forget that. I guess another moment, the first game against Liverpool, we didn't really know what to expect going into the first season, but we showed up. We went toe to toe with Liverpool. Harrison's goal brought the ball down, took it straight past two players, and I don't know. We all got our hopes up after that game, and it was a great season. But just to announce ourselves on the big stage, for people to say, "Oh yeah, Phillips is quite a good player," it was just quite good that everyone could appreciate Leeds that we've appreciated for so many years.
Yeah, mate. So many of these coming in, and it's great to see. Obviously, like. Mate, I love Spygate. I love Spygate because with Spygate and even the whole give the goal, like we got a FIFA Fair Play Award. When you think about that Fair Play Award, we gave them a goal because we shithoused a goal when we pretended we were going to put the ball out of play. So it's the least fucking sporting thing you could actually do. So that's why they got annoyed, and that's why we gave them a goal back. So like. The whole country fucking hated us after that. And that is my Leeds United. That is exactly what I want from Leeds United. My best Bielsa moment, and I'll be honest, he wasn't, or at least I didn't see him there when it happened. But the night that we got promoted because of Emil Smith-Rowe's goal against West Brom, I went down with my brother to the front of the East Stand, and when the fireworks were going off, we partied there for hours. And my missus, if she's watching, I'm sorry, but that was the best night of my life by some considerable distance. I've seen Leo Messi score a hat-trick in the flesh in the new camp, and that was top of my bucket list. But nothing quite compares to celebrating Leeds finally getting back up into the Premier League and with the players coming out onto the steps and singing with us, and I was fucking 10 feet away from Calvin Phillips, just like dictating us like a choir. It was so special. I can't imagine. Look, like I said, we're going to get behind Jesse Marsch, and I hope every Leeds fan gives him the credit that he deserves for taking on the job in a really fucking hard time to take this job. But I can't imagine ever having this love for a Leeds United manager again. And I'm sure this is how my grandma felt about Don Revie at the time, and how my mum felt about Wilco at the time. And I can't say I ever really had that with David O'Leary, weirdly enough. Like I love some of the players, but I didn't have that connection with O'Leary. It is Marcelo Bielsa. There's one or two comments, and I'd try normally not to rise to it. But Gail, you've asked me to say something, so I'm gonna just flash your comment up. First of all, no, I don't love Marcelo Bielsa more than I love Leeds. I do right now because I don't feel very happy with Leeds United for doing this the way they've done it. But I'm Leeds. I was born Leeds, and I will die Leeds. I wasn't born Bielsa. But this. sorry, it was a different one, but it was along those lines. You were saying that you thought he'd take us down. For me, at this point, if Marcelo Bielsa was going to get us relegated, the reason I say that Jesse Marsch is brave is because I think he comes in with most Leeds fans on a -10 already. Because if he keeps us up, so would Bielsa. And anyone that thinks that Bielsa's going to take us down, I'll stand here and argue with you all night. I completely disagree. There is 3 teams worse than us in this division. Norwich and Watford are already down, and I believe we finish above Brentford, even without Bielsa. I mean, for a long time this week, I've thought, now he's gone, we're down. But the more I look at it, I still think, I think Newcastle and Everton maybe move above us, but those 3 I think can definitely finish below us, and maybe Burnley as well. But I do start to believe Burnley might stay up. But if Jesse Marsch can keep Leeds up, Bielsa definitely would have. And if Jesse Marsch takes us down, I don't believe Bielsa would. So that's where I wanted to go on that. But do you agree with that, Chris? I want to double check. Do you think Bielsa would have kept us up, and do you think Jesse Marsch will?
I think 100% Bielsa would have kept us up. We've got so many winnable games left. We've got Norwich coming up in a week or so time. We've got Watford, Brentford last game of the season was a bit of a dodgy one, but we can win that. Southampton, even Wolves, we don't have a good record against Wolves, but we've got so many games that we can pick up points, and we only really need 3 or 4 wins. 3 or 4 wins, the odd point here, and we'll be fine. Brentford are on complete free fall. Everton, obviously coached by Super Frank, so good luck to them. And I think, yeah, like you say, there's definitely 3 or 4 teams a lot worse than we are.
Yeah, I completely agree, mate. I do think it's madness that people actually thought he'd take us down. Look, I understand the month of February, Leeds United conceded the most goals in a calendar month of any team in Premier League history. That is bad. And I can see on the pitch, look, I think you've probably said something along the lines already, but I'm going to say it again. It looked like perhaps some of the players had lost faith in him or had down tools or weren't playing for him. But even, I think that was during that week of Man United at home, Liverpool away, Tottenham at home. I think if you ride that week out, for me, I think the defeats that did for him were actually Newcastle at home, which I was at, and then Everton away, which for me, Everton away was still the worst performance under Bielsa in his entire time there. I think it was worse than getting dicked 6-0 by Liverpool, worse than 7-0 against Man City because of the quality of the teams. 3-0 against Everton, a bad Everton, under a new manager who is a fraud, and we know that. That was terrible. So, yeah, I still think, like you just said, with some of the games we've got coming up until Chelsea now, we've got 6 games that we could definitely get. How many points do we need to stay up? 12, maybe? I think we get those points in the next 6 games. Well, what do you think from the next 6 games? Had Bielsa still been here, we would have done? Do you think we just continue slumping and conceding fucking 5 a game and losing, or do you think he would have turned it round at all? And if so, how?
I think he'd have turned it around. I think
no, that's a hard question.
There was a stat that I saw that in each of his seasons, he's always had a down point. I mean, I think in one of the championship seasons, there was the interview after Nottingham Forest where Ayling was looking down and out, and I think we were all probably sitting there thinking, "Oh wow, are we gonna? What's going to happen? How are we going to bounce back?" But they would regroup, and after this defeat to Tottenham, they would have regrouped. They would have had a plan. They wouldn't have changed formations massively because we know Bielsa likes to stick with his way. But tomorrow's game would have been a game that he's targeting. He's had success there before. Last season, we got a win, drew early this season. Certainly, some of the games coming up, Villa, who've got after that, Norwich. These are the games you target, especially with the players coming back. There'll be a buzz just for these players being on the bench, like at Brentford when Bamford was on the bench. The noise in the stadium when he came on. That game obviously turned out to be quite devastating in terms that it was where we lost.
Only to them.
We lost Cooper, we lost Phillips, we lost Bamford celebrating, and maybe that's where it went all wrong. But
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to try and draw the Bielsa stuff to a close in a minute, but I want to address just some of the rumours. There's quite a few, but we'll try to get through them. So the rumours from the last week, Jesse Marsch and Victor Orta, we know now, spoke on the Wednesday night when Leeds United were beaten 6-0 by Liverpool. Jesse Marsch has said that in his press conference, so we know that's true. Look, I understand, like you said before, Leeds have got to do their due diligence and see if Marsch is interested, if that's who they want. And obviously, it just feels like cheating on your girlfriend. It feels low, man. And the other one that I heard anyway, and I don't know if anyone else has, but apparently Jesse Marsch was already in Leeds on Friday, and Marcelo Bielsa was already told on Friday before the Tottenham game that would be his last game. For me, have you heard that as well?
I have, and to be honest, I thought it was a very strange lineup, and it kind of makes sense that he was almost told lose this game and you're out, because I've never seen him. I probably got this wrong, but I've never seen him play that midfield that he did. I think it was 𝐃𝐿, it was Dallas and Forshaw. It was so defensive, and the Rodrigo and Click on the bench. I almost felt like he that was the first time he'd gone against his principles of always sticking someone like Rodrigo in there, and he knew heavy defeat and you're out.
Yeah, and then obviously, like, the question that it raises is like, if, and look, it is an if, because I don't know, it's just something that has been circulating, but if you're going to get rid of him the night before a game, you may as well just fucking get rid of him. Don't let him take charge of the game. What's the point? Like, let fucking Mark Jackson take charge of the game if you're after, but you can't tell someone they're going. And like the words that Jesse Marsch said again, was it? I think it was yesterday morning now, but about he even said to Victor Orta, I think he deserves until the end of the season. That conversation, I feel like Bielsa was very much aware. I'm not saying Ferguson style, like he's gone get him like he did with Moyes with Fergie, but I feel like Bielsa was very much aware of what was going on around him, and that actually seems pretty seedy to me. And another one of the rumours that I want to talk about is that Phil Hay on the Phil Hay show that's obviously come out today said that the news was leaked to him on the Thursday that Bielsa was going to be going. His tweet after full time got him in a lot of trouble, but he clearly did know something was afoot. And obviously, we saw a few weeks ago, or maybe about January, actually, I think it was, the three managers that got leaked to the Telegraph or the Times or something like that. These leaks that are coming out the club, who are they coming from and why? It's so disrespectful. Like, I just don't get it. It doesn't fit with me at all. It doesn't sit right. And I'm just, how do you, and obviously the main one is the players. There's the rumor of 3 or maybe 4 players that have turned on Bielsa, asked for him to be removed, basically. Do we go into details about those players? I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but I think it'll sort of come out when I go to the team selection anyway. But what do all those rumors that were circulating around that 24 to 48 hours make you feel about the situation? Like, is that something that feeds into the feeling of the disrespect?
Yeah, absolutely. If it's true and anyone has asked for him to go, then yeah, that doesn't sit right with me, because give him time, give the man some respect, and I think have faith the results would come. I don't know who these players are, but I hope they're not true.
Yeah, I mean, for me, with the player stuff, that's why I kind of said earlier about where I felt torn on how I felt about certain players now and who I want to see in a Leeds shirt again. And Gail, you're not going to like it, but your favourite person's going to get a bit of a shoe in from me eventually. Thank you. I appreciate that. I have heard that one as well. That's one I've heard. Angus Kinnear apparently did want Bielsa to stay. And look, I think we're already nearly an hour in. I don't want to trudge down the deep, dark path that is the summer and the 49ers, but do you see a shake-up in the summer? Do you see that I've heard rumours of there's no longer going to be a director of football, which is what Victor Orta is, because Jesse Marsh is going to come in not as head coach, but eventually become the manager, and then we'll get a sporting director. So Victor and Angus, this could be them going, and obviously Rads could be selling on to the 49ers in the summer. Things could be about to change. Do you see like a big shake-up over the next 6 months in this club? And do you like the direction the club's going?
It's a bit of a worry, I think, because I mean, there's not many clubs that have been run like Leeds United. I think the fact that all of the directors were so close to the manager, to the players and everyone, that was unique. And there's not many clubs that have that sort of atmosphere. And yeah, it does look like the 49ers are going to take over complete control. It seems like some of the decisions, even looking at Aaronson in January, was that all the 49ers? I don't know, but it worries me what plans they've got. Because I think up until now, this decision's questionable, but it's been very well run the last kind of 4 years, and it's going to be a big summer. There's a lot to go, a lot to happen. Especially you look at Phillips and Rafinha as well. Decisions over their future as well, and how is that going to be influenced by what's happened?
And then obviously, like, do the 49ers still take over if we go down? And does Radrizzani have a change of heart? There's so much to we'll probably do another show on that another time. I think I've got enough of that now.
We can say we're not going down, so let's we're not going down regardless. Yeah.
So let's move on. We've done nearly an hour on Marcelo Bielsa. Bielsa, if you're watching, I hope I've done you justice. I know you're not watching, but you are there, so I'll take it. Jesse Marsh, then. How do you feel about our new manager, and do you know a right lot about him, and are you excited?
Up until a week ago, I didn't know a great deal about him. I'd seen some of the rumours, but I can't say I've watched it before. I've obviously read up a lot about him now, and I want to get behind him. So yeah, I am. Yeah. It sounds strange, but yeah, I probably am excited just to see what's going to happen. Tomorrow's a new game. It's the first time in a while where we don't know what to expect. We don't know what formation. We don't know what the lineup's going to be. We don't know, are they going to sit back? Are they going to be going for it from the kickoff? We just really don't know. I think he's done as well as he possibly could in the interviews he's done so far. It's a tough job to come into. He knows the fans love Bielsa, so he's brave to come in, and he's certainly saying all the right things. I'm interested to see how it goes tomorrow, and I suppose, without sounding negative, I guess it's more about what happens tomorrow rather than the build-up and everything he's saying, because we've heard other managers talk a good talk, and Bottom sounded quite good, didn't he? So.
Oh dear. Bless him. He's been blasted a few times tonight, poor Hecky. It was shit. I'll be honest, my initial reaction, and then look, it's mellowed during the week, of course it has, but I was just indifferent to it. I was just, welcome to Leeds. I hope you do well. Look, we'll all get behind him, and I think we need to get behind him. As much as I'm very much still nailing my colours to the mast, and obviously we both have Bielsa behind us. But I'm going to support Jesse Marsh and hope that he does a fantastic job, and he is the future of this club, and he takes us on to the next level. But at first, look, and it's nothing to do with the fact that he's American. Nothing to do with that at all. It's nothing to do with the fact that he only played in the MLS. And like you said, that wouldn't be too unfair. Second-hand car salesman. Some people might say the same. When it comes to Jesse Marsh, I'll admit I'm the same as you. I didn't know too much about him before this week, and I've had to do a lot of digging to write the article. Look, I had watched a few games unknowingly at the time that he was in charge of the teams for, because I've watched the Champions League games for Liverpool and Man City, where obviously he actually did quite well against Liverpool in losing 4-3, but they were 3-0 down at half time, came back and got it to 3-3, lost 4-3 in the end, but lost the first leg 2-0. He's also lost 6-3, I think it was, to Man City. And, you know, I've looked at the formations and stuff that he's played in those games. So far his record against English sides is played 3, lost 3. But, you know, it's a stat that seems quite unfair when you actually go into it. And look, I'm not going to dig right into his entire career. We could go through his playing career. We could go through his managerial career. We know he's a Red Bull guy, basically. If anyone watches the Premier League, all the shit you've heard about Ralph Rangnick since he joined Man United, it's the same script. And there's mainly one formation that's going to get spoken about a lot, and it's that 4-2-2-2. For me, looking at those games specifically against Liverpool and Man City, he actually played a 4-2-3-1 against City. He did the 4-2-2-2 against Liverpool both times. I'm not going to give you my answer here. I believe you may have read my article, so you may know anyway. But I'm going to ask you, Chris, if you were the manager right now, coming in, you're Jesse Marsh, and say you only know these two formations, and they're the two that you want to stick to, they're the things that you want to go for, which one would you pick, given the players that we've got?
Yeah, I suppose it's a bit of a worry that his formation seems to be quite narrow when all of the success we've had has come from the width. It's all about go as wide as possible, cut it in. But I do think our players can adapt to any formation. I think we've got intelligent players. Rafinha, Rodrigo, they can all play multiple positions. Same as 𝐃𝐿. I think James with his pace can be a danger wherever he is. So I don't know, to answer your question. I just can't see him doing anything massively different player-wise, because we don't have that many different players available. We've only got a very small squad, so very interested to see what he does. But it appears like he's going to go for the two up front, from what I've read. Right.
Well, look, let's be honest. The things that we can expect, we know that we are going to continue to press and press high. The thing with Jesse Marsh in comparison to Marcelo Bielsa is obviously it's now a ball-orientated press. It's not pressing man for man. A lot of people will be relieved to hear that. I'll be begrudgingly honest, especially against teams perhaps like Leicester, that man for man are probably better than us in most positions. It probably isn't the worst thing in the world to move away from the man marking. I did like that we were the only team in not just the Premier League, but probably the fucking world that man marked. I like that made us different, but I'm not necessarily too upset to move away from it. I do think it might be a bit of an adaptation for the players, because it is hard to go from one to the other. But no, with terms of stylistically, the one thing that I think people are going to be really relieved to hear is I'll say the word counter pressing, and people will go, "What the fuck are you on about?" And I'll just translate it into Leeds fan English, which is that massive fucking hole that you've seen in our midfield when Joel Matip or Ben White carry the ball out from centre back all the way to our centre backs. That is gone now, so you don't have to see that shit no more. Essentially, when we lose the ball, the players aren't going to just go chasing a daft person they don't need to be chasing. They'll just drop back into their formation and not let people run fucking 80 yards through us. So that's probably going to be nice. But yeah, like what you were just saying, you just hit the nail on the head for me there. I look at our squad, and out of those two formations, I'm going 4-2-3-1 all day, just because we've got wingers that know how to be wingers. And look, I don't think that they can't adapt to being 10s. I know that, but you've got, and we'll do a lineup prediction in a minute. I know your face is about to drop and go, "Oh shit, I can't be asked trying to guess," but okay. I think the back five is fairly easy, and like you said, maybe the two in front again easy because of who's available. But that front four, whether it's a 2-2 or a 3-1, I think that's going to be really interesting, and it'll be intriguing to see whether that plays to our strengths. And just before we do go on to trying to predict the lineup, do you think anybody sort of loses their place in the first team picture that they were in with Bielsa that might not be under Jesse Marsch, and because of this change, do you think it affects anyone, and if so, who?
I think potentially the biggest risk is Harrison, potentially, because of the formation, but also Bielsa had a lot of loyalty to him. He's done so well over the past few seasons, and he almost seems like one of the first names on the team sheet. So I'd say he's an obvious choice. Coming off the bench, I don't know how Roberts fits in here. I've got nothing against Roberts, like you said earlier. He's been put in difficult situations, coming on as the man to change it when he perhaps isn't ready to have that role yet. But I don't know. I guess there is opportunities for some of the younger players as well. And Rodrigo's been stepping up in the last few games, so he's probably the person I'm most looking forward to seeing how he fits in.
Yeah, I'd agree there. Yeah, I'd definitely agree there. Do you know what? Another thing that's going to go down really well with a lot of Leeds fans, the ones that like Bielsa and don't, we might not see so many square pegs round holes. I think, painful as it is to say, I actually feel that's a bit of a relief. And obviously, I'd like to think those substitutions, the daft ideas, I'd like to think Jesse Marsch is more of a, whereas Bielsa's a generational coach, I'd like to think Jesse Marsch is going to do those just obvious fucking decisions and get them right. One thing I want to do, and we'll probably go through and do like a look at the lineup. But before we go and predict tomorrow's lineup, I want you to imagine that we've got a fully fit squad. Everybody is back. And so say we're going to go with, it's 4-2-2-2. We're not doing 4-2-3-1. We're going to go the one that's harder to do. Your goalkeeper is obviously still Illan Millier, yeah?
Yeah.
If you've got a back four and you are Jesse Marsch right now, who's your back four? And do you still employ that right-footed right centre-back, left-footed left centre-back thing like Bielsa did? Or do you go for, if you're a FIFA manager and you put the two highest rated in, like, what's your back four?
I think I would keep in the same format that Bielsa played, to be honest. I think that works quite well. So I think Ayling at right back, I'd go. He's not the best of seasons by his own standards, but I still think he's the best man for the job there. Yeah. Left back, I'm still to be sold on Firpo. I know he's had a lot of injuries, so I don't know if he walks into the team. I don't know if I'd have Dallas there. If you're saying we've got a full squad, whether you play Dallas at left back, it's again that's probably a square peg there, but I just don't know if Firpo is ready yet.
It depends. What is Stuart Dallas? If you had to pin him down to one position, because he came to us as a right winger, what is it?
I'd say centre mid now. I think that's where he seems to have the most influence there. But I think you've got to have him in the team. He's too good to bench, and he's. I think whatever formation you play, I think he's got to have a place.
And what about your centre back?
I left that to last just because all of them have had their off days recently.
Cooper hasn't.
Cooper hasn't, and again, mixed opinion. When like it, I wasn't necessarily convinced that he was our Premiership defender. I don't know if he could step up to the level that some of the others could, but maybe from a leadership point of view, he is needed. But I'd say based on who we need now, I'd put Cooper in, and I'd probably put Robin Koch next to him. Yeah,
interesting. So this is one that's come in. So like you, Dallas and Ayling at the two fullback positions, Pascal and Koch. Obviously, I think that is potentially what we see tomorrow, unless Firpo obviously starts at left back. Obviously, people will always talk about the left-sided centre half. Is it going to be Cooper? Is it going to be Pascal? And let's be honest, the future of that role, if he's here next season, is obviously Pascal Struijk, because he's absolutely fucking quality. But I think it's so underrated what Liam Cooper's done for Leeds United in that position, for especially since we got promoted to the Premier League. Look, I think Diego Llorente's got more Cooperisms in him these days than Liam Cooper does anymore, to be fair. I'm very much Robin Koch over Diego Llorente all day in the right centre-back role. For now, until the end of the season, if Cooper comes back, I agree with you. Cooper goes back in for me. He's the captain of the club. He has to play. And Pascal will always get minutes because Cooper is made of glass. But yeah, I think that's the four. That's the four that I'd continue with for now. So the two in front of the back four, don't forget, like if you do end up say for example you went Cooper and Llorente as your two centre halves. I know you didn't. You went Cooper and Koch, but there is always the opportunity for Pascal and Robin Koch to both still play. I mean, that would be four fucking centre halves, which I think would be kind of hard to see. But who would your two in front of the back four be? I'm assuming Calvin and Forshaw, maybe, no?
I mean, certainly Phillips, without a doubt.
Yeah.
If we're going to say Dallas in left back, probably, I probably would put Forshaw in there.
Mm. But if Firpo starts at left back, I'm sensing that maybe you would put Dallas as a holding midfielder.
Yeah, I'd love to see Dallas and Phillips there, and just leave the attacking players to have the freedom that allows them to push on.
Yeah, no, I really like the sound of that, to be honest, because obviously, like the two in front of the back four, it isn't like the Calvin role that we've seen for the last 3.5, 4 years. It's not a defensive midfielder as such. It's a bit like what West Ham have in Declan Rice and Thomas Tuchel. Like, they are the two deep lying midfielders or holding midfielders, whatever you want to call them. But most of the time, you see them camped on the edge of the other team's box. And obviously, the two in front are not wingers like we're used to seeing. They are two number 10s, essentially, which I think this is where it really gets interesting, where you go to the two in behind the strikers. So obviously we've got an abundance of wingers, and like you said, you can adapt to playing slightly inverted. We've got Rafinha and Dan James that actually kind of like to invert anyway, and like you said before, and I agree with you entirely, if anyone misses out for me, it's Harrison, because Harrison is so much just fully left wing, go down the line, whip a ball in, sometimes not very well. I don't see Harrison as inverting, although that goal against Liverpool that you talk about, that's obviously what he did. But that two in behind the striker, the wingers get brought into the conversation, but as much as people might hammer me for saying this, Tyler Roberts, Matthias Glick, the attacking midfielders that we've got, Rodrigo has played as an attacking midfielder for the last 1.5 years, even though he doesn't want to. There is so many people that can fill those two positions. So if you're Jesse Marsh, who fills those two positions for you? Fully fit squad.
I guess I've seen rumours of Rafinha going in one of the front two, but I think he goes in one of these positions you talk about now. So I'd put Rafinha in there. And next to him, I'll probably go Rodrigo. I'm tempted to say Glick, but I think for now I'd go Rodrigo.
So that means that your front two, I'm assuming, is Bamford and Joffrey, not Tyler Roberts.
I'll go for Joffrey up there, yeah. Yeah.
So you, as a fully fit squad, you wouldn't want to see a front two of Bamford and Rodrigo?
No, I would. I'd certainly consider that. I can't believe we haven't really seen much of Rodrigo up there so far, given we've had no striker up. I just maybe one or two games, but given the injuries we've had, I just can't believe he's not had a run of games there. Because he's got a wand of a left foot. Surely we'd have had some goals, and I just wish we'd have seen a bit more of that.
Yeah, so my two in behind the striker, same as you. You can't leave Rafinha out, because Rafinha for me is the most adept in that he can be a winger, but he can do that 10 role quite easily, more than Dan James necessarily, more than Jack Harrison. And I think the person that makes the most sense to be on the other side is actually Matthias Glick. And look, I don't think Matthias 𝐃𝐄's had a great season either of the last 2 seasons, but I think Matthias 𝐃𝐄 for that position is the most naturally suited to it, and perhaps playing to his strengths. The best thing we saw of Matthias 𝐃𝐄 was when we had a midfield of Calvin, Forshaw, 𝐃𝐄, because 𝐃𝐄 was the most advanced of that 3, while he had those 2 to support and add balance behind. If you've already got, say, we went for Calvin and Forshaw, or Calvin and Dallas in behind him, you've got Rafinha who's just going to fucking attack. And then you've got the 2 strikers ahead of him. 𝐃𝐄 can actually be that number 10 that he likes to be. He's got free roam, freedom. He can go forward, but he can also hold. I actually think he's the most suitable to the role. Probably more suited to it than Rafinha actually is, because Rafinha is still a winger. And then the 2 in front, I'd like to see the Bamford and Rodrigo partnership given a chance, to be honest. But obviously with Bamford out now, it comes down to this pecking order that Bielsa had of Tyler Roberts over Joffrey Gelhardt. I am going to be so excited to see tomorrow if the formation comes out. You know, when you check your phone an hour before the game, when you go on Twitter, the lineup's out, and especially if you're at Ellen Road, you can't get any signal. All you can see is the formation, and you're there like, who's that playing where? If I see 4-2-2-2, I'm going to see Rodrigo. I'm quite confident of that. But who is next to him? Is it Tyler Roberts or is it Joffrey Gelhardt? And if it's Tyler Roberts, do people just go burn down the stadium straight away? I am very intrigued to see how that goes. I think let's have a go at predicting the lineup for tomorrow then. Yeah. What formation do you expect to see tomorrow? I know it's a hard question to answer.
I would say it's the one we've just spoke about. I think he is going to want to shake it up. He's going to want to put his stamp on it. We need goals. Maybe we're not that solid at the back at the moment. So why not go two up top?
Yeah, I do expect to see 4-2-2-2, but like I said to you, I actually want to see 4-2-3-1. Just so we can have wingers as wingers for now. But I'll put this one sentence out and then we'll put 4-2-3-1 to bed and we'll carry on with 4-2-2-2. If we do start with a 4-2-3-1, I want Rafinha on the right, Dan James on the left, Harrison on the bench. That's me. Would you do the same, or would you put Harrison in?
No, I think.
Or would you put Dan James up front? We haven't even spoken about Dan James up front.
I mean, he's certainly improved, but I don't think that's something I want to see again. It's not fair to put him against these big centre backs and expecting him to. I know he did win a couple of headers, but it's not where he's best. So I don't think we're going to see that again. I think, as you said, get rid of the square pegs, and if we've got no one else, put Joffrey up there.
Yeah. So again, we'll skip past it because there's no point. But in goal tomorrow, Illan Meslier. That's never going to change. So you're back for tomorrow. Obviously, there is doubts over Diego Llorente. Apparently, he's not been fit and he's not been training. But we have seen Liam Cooper and Calvin Phillips and Patrick Bamford all back in training. He has said they shouldn't be ready necessarily for the weekend, but he did actually say that potentially there might be a slim chance of them being on the bench. So who starts in defence tomorrow?
I think it'd be a boost just to have him on the bench, but I would say we're going to have Ayling, Koch and Strauch, and then probably Firpo left back.
Yeah, Simon has obviously gone exactly the same as you. Crumble Man just wants to get his marching on together in there. Very good, Mike. Well done.
And I'll be happy with that back four. I think it's a strong back four, and.
Yeah, I agree. So for me, I don't want to just reveal the players that I think are the ones that turned on Bielsa, but I have real problems with certain people now, and I'm gonna have to try and get over them. Diego Llorente, you're one of them. Luke Ayling at right back. Scott will tell me all day that Jamie Shack deserves to start at right back. In terms of quality, I disagree. I don't think Jamie Shack's been as good as he he's not taken his chance when he's been given it, and when he does get the chance, he gets injured. So, Ayling, if the rumours are true, and it is Luke Ayling, shame on you, because you're the person of the ones in that group that Bielsa took from a player that was still Yeovil quality, let's be honest, to nearly on the verge of an England call-up. So I hope it's not true. The other one is the opposite side. I thought against Tottenham, he was the worst player on the pitch by a fucking mile. Junior Firpo has had a very difficult start to life at Leeds United. Fitness, COVID, form. I haven't seen too many good games from him. So for me, it depends on what happens in front of it, to be honest, in terms of the midfield and who can play in midfield or who is or isn't there. But if Dallas is needed in midfield, then obviously Firpo will have to start. But if Dallas isn't needed in midfield, I would happily have Dallas at left back and have Firpo out the team. So for me, yeah, Ayling owes everything to Bielsa. Ayling, Pascal has to start every game for me at the moment, especially without Goops and Robin Koch as well. I think the pair of them have been two of the shining lights in a really dour month and a half. They've still looked good despite getting dick 6-0. So, yeah, that's my back four. The two in front of them then. So I think one of them's nailed on in Adam Forshaw. But who goes next to Adam Forshaw for you? I think you've put Firpo at left back, so is it Dallas?
Yeah, if Firpo plays, which I'd rather he didn't, like you, but if that's what happens, I'd put Dallas with Forshaw.
Right. And then, so this is again where it gets interesting. So you're going to go for Rafinha on the right of the two in behind the strikers.
Yeah.
When we went with a fully fit squad, you said you wanted Rodrigo on the other side. Obviously, you know that isn't the case tomorrow. So who goes on the other number 10 slot for you on the left-hand side of the 10s?
So I'll go Click based on the players we've got available.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm in agreement.
Yeah.
It probably makes little difference, but the four players we just spoke about, does it make a difference to you who's on the right of that two and who's on the left of it? And
you further forward, you're talking about?
Well, the two in front of the midfield and the two in behind the strikers. Who are you wanting on the right side and who are you wanting on the left side?
I think I'll definitely have Rafinha on the right side.
Yeah. And what about behind? Would you have Dallas in behind Rafinha or Adam Forshaw?
I'd go Dallas just for the overlaps and just to keep some of the continuity to the way they've been playing, I guess.
Yeah. See, I'd have Forshaw on the right with Luke Ayling obviously behind him here, and then I'd have Dallas if Dallas is there with Firpo there, because like you, I'm going Rafinha right and Click left. So I like that link up between Dallas, Click, Firpo, and when Harrison's played as well. But I think that's worked at times this season, even when we played badly. So I'd have Dallas on the left and Rafinha on the right. It's going to be a fucking confusing formation, this, isn't it? Who's up front for you then? Who's your front two tomorrow?
So I think up front tomorrow we're going to have Rodrigo, and I do think he starts 𝐃𝐎𝐖𝐍𝐋𝐿Hart. I think he's going to go for him from the off.
Actually, I don't want to go backwards, but when you've just bought 𝐾𝐿Hart into it there, and you've spoken about hopefully 𝐾𝐿Hart gets thrown in from the start, I completely agree with you. I'd like to see Rodrigo and Joffrey up front tomorrow together. But there was a sentence that I've missed out and we haven't focused on at all. He spoke specifically about the under-23s, didn't he? And apparently he likes big physical centre-halves. And there's a chance, I mean, it's a rumour and it's a weird one, but apparently he likes a 3-4-3, which I can't see any reason why. But I've heard whispers Charlie Cresswell might get a look in. Do you think Charlie Cresswell is now, while Cooper's out, in the pecking order? Where is he in the pecking order now? And do you think he climbs up it because Jesse Marsch is going to give these young kids a chance where people will say Bielsa did. Look, he didn't give kids a chance. Not if he didn't have to.
I mean, if he was starting tomorrow, I wouldn't be worried. I think every time he's stepped in, he's done a great job. And I suppose it's the opportunity to come in with no fear. And maybe some of the defenders are sort of a bit panicky. We're seeing mistakes, so I would have no problems with that.
Obviously, he started against West Ham at home, and for 90 minutes until they fucking nicked a winner in the last second, I thought he was brilliant. He filled me with confidence in one game more than Llorente had all season. There is, as always, a leak. The leak that I've seen and the team that I've heard. So I've heard Meslier obviously in goal. The back four that's been leaked: Ayling, Cresswell, Strike, and Dallas, with Forshaw and Koch in front of them. Rafinha and Dan James in behind Joffrey and Rodrigo. Apparently, that is what has been practiced in training at Thorpe Arch this week. How would you feel about that? Yeah, that's a bit of a different one, isn't it? As Mike has said here, the fans will always erupt if they ever see Joffrey. Everybody wants to see Joffrey. I don't want to talk about this, but yeah, it is a bit weird. The three of them are all back in training. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, Charlie, you'd be happy with that if that was the lineup. So come on then. Where 2 questions. I'm going to give you predictions now. What's your score prediction for tomorrow? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think we're going to get the new manager bounce, or do you think we're going to pick up where we left off from getting tonked 6-0, 4-0, 4-2, fucking 3-0? Where are we going?
I think I don't see a big defeat, so that's the one positive. I'm looking forward to it. I'm optimistic.
You've changed. You're Bielsa out now, I can tell.
No, definitely not. I think you've got to look forward. It's the only way now, isn't it? But I don't know. I think we can edge it. Maybe a 2-1 win. Maybe a bit of a new manager bounce. The boost of these players coming back as well. I think just even in and around the squad, even if they're not starting, just their presence is going to be a massive lift. Yeah.
So if we were to win 2-1, I assume Jamie Vardy scores for them. Not that we care who scores for them. Who scores for Leeds United tomorrow?
I'd go Rafinha and Rodrigo. I think they're the two.
You've definitely read my article and stolen my fucking answer there. Cheeky bastard.
I've certainly read it, but I just think the two of them have got a good link, and they're the players to step up, aren't they?
Yeah, well, on current form, the last time we scored, it was them too. So I'm going 2-2. I think, look, Leicester are out of form in general this season. They've just done us a favour and beaten Burnley in midweek, but they needed to wait until the last 10 minutes and for Jamie Vardy to finally come back and start scoring again. I think Jamie Vardy's always going to be hard for us to deal with. I think, weirdly enough, the person I'd most like to see against Jamie Vardy tomorrow is, it's a tough one between Cresswell and Pascal Stroy. I think they both stand up to him really well. I think that'll be interesting. But like you said, I think Rafinha gets back on the goal scoring form and hopefully, I mean, that probably does say a lot about his relationship with Bielsa, if I'm honest, but it is what it is. And Rodrigo has been a real positive in the last month or so while everything's been bad. He has put more good performances in the last month than I've seen him put in a while, probably the whole time he's been here. So I think them two together, like you said, when they link up well, that they are clearly, in terms of quality anyway, a cut above some of the rest of the players that we've got here. So maybe in a different system, in a different look, the man marking thing never fucking suited Rodrigo in particular, and probably not Rafinha either. Maybe this plays into their strengths a bit more, and maybe that works in our favour. But look, we can't forget Leicester. despite having a bad season, they are a team that are still currently in Europe, in the knockout stages of a third tier, but it's a European competition. They won the FA Cup last season. They won the Premier League within the last 6 years. They are where we're aiming to be. So we obviously got a good result there last season. Bamford scored a brilliant goal. The one where he twats it top right. That's one of my favourite goals from last season. But yeah, I think it's not going to be as easy as new manager bounce. We go and win 3-0. Guys in the comments as well, get your score predictions in. I'll flash some of them up. But I'd love to see us kick off the Jesse Marsch era with a win. But I think it'll be a tight game. And look, let's be honest, after the last month and a half, it would be great to just see a performance, to not see us go out and concede goals in the first 10, 15 minutes, to see us concede 1, 2, 3 in quick succession. I don't want to see Leeds falling apart. I want to see a bit of resolute defending and 16-0. I assume that's to Leicester rather than Leeds, Simon. Yeah. But yeah, it seems quite a popular pick there. 2-1, Rafinha and Rodrigo to score. Alisson and Marty again. 1-1 draw. I'd be happy with that. I'd be really pleased with a point tomorrow. 3 points to kickstart the Jesse Marsch era would be fucking fantastic. But yeah, we've got a few people saying Joffy to score as well. That'd be lovely as well. Obviously, we'd love to see 𝐃𝐎𝐿𝐼𝐻. I think if 𝐃𝐎𝐿𝐼𝐻 actually, I know it's not going to be populist, but if Tyler Roberts starts and Joffy comes off the bench, I think you're more likely to see a Joffy goal off the bench than if he starts. I think he's a really good impact sub. And then obviously, one of the last things I want to ask you, where do you think we finish this season now? And does tomorrow's result help you make your mind up on that? And am I maybe better off inviting you on another show and asking you at a later point?
I think we certainly need to see how it beds in. I don't think tomorrow's as important as everyone may think. I think if I'll predict a win, but if we don't win tomorrow, I'm not going to be fearing the worst. We've got many winnable games coming up. The 2 home games next week, where I think that could be 6 points. So I'd like to think we're going to finish as high as 15th. I think that's where we started on at the weekend. It's slowly going down, but I think I can put an argument to 15th. Yeah,
fair enough. I mean, our next, you were just saying there about the next few games. Obviously, we've got Leicester away tomorrow. We've got Villa at home Thursday night. It's on Amazon Prime, I think. But yeah, then Norwich at home. 4 to 6 points is minimum there. Minimum. You can't take less than 4 points from those 2 games. You have to win 1 and draw 1 at least. Wolves away is a hard game, but we managed to turn that around and get a point earlier in the season, and I'd like to think that we could take something from that. Southampton at home. Southampton away was one of our worst performances of the season, so I'd like to see us put that right. But then Watford away. Watford at Ellen Road was one of the worst teams I've ever seen at Ellen Road, and I've been there in League One. They are fucking terrible. So we've got the 2 teams that are currently occupying 20th and 19th coming up. That has to be 6 points. It has to be. That's not me sitting here being cocky. That's me telling the team that I'm not watching this, because why would they be? But if you are watching this, fucking take 6 points from those games. You have to. And then obviously we do, getting into April, you have got Chelsea at home, Man City at home. We still have Arsenal away. But leading the next 6 games up until that Chelsea game are crucial. If we can take 10, 12 points, I think 12 points takes us safe, to be honest. That takes us up to 35 points. I think you only need 34 to stay up. Watford and Norwich for me are down. And obviously Burnley, I think, will come out of there. I think they'll be okay. Yeah. Sean Dyche just knows what he's doing. They'll finish 17th. But I think Brentford go down. I honestly do. Sorry, Mr. Eriksson, but looks like you're going to be in the Championship next season. Of course you won't. You're going to leave anyway.
I agree. I think I think they're on free fall. They started well. I guess they had a boost when they came up. But I think that they're the team to finish third bottom.
They've lost 6 on the bounce. Thomas Frank ain't going anywhere.
No.
I mean,
I'm still not convinced on Everton either. So, like you say, it just takes a couple of wins, and we could be sat here in a week's time, not out of this situation, but sitting much healthier than we are now. Yeah.
Look, I know people will say, look, they could lose them, but Everton have got 2 games in hand, and they're obviously a point behind us. So I think Everton move above us. Newcastle are now 2 points ahead of us with a game in hand on us. So I think they go up a bit now as well. I think they're fine. And then after that, you've got quite a big jump to Villa and Leicester and Palace that are all on 30 points. So I think the highest we can go is 14th. But to finish 14th, we would need to finish above Newcastle, Brentford, Everton, Burnley. And I don't see that. But for me, I think 16th is where we are now. I can see us finishing definitely above Norwich, Watford, and Brentford, who I know in the table are a point above us, but they have played a game more. We have a game in hand. That's next Thursday, and it is Aston Villa, which you'd fancy us to get a draw from that at least. So, yeah, I think we finish above Brentford, and then it's just... I think we need to keep trying to pick up more points than Burnley. I think Burnley is someone we really do need to keep a close eye on. They've got a game in hand on us, so keep a close eye on them. But I'm confident. I'm more confident towards the end of this show than I was at the fucking start of it. I can tell you that now. And obviously, yes, Brentford away, last game of the season, is potentially going to be make or break. And Charlie's obviously pointing out Brentford have Norwich tomorrow. A lot of these teams below us and in and around us, they have some big games coming up against each other. And David's saying here there's still 36 points to play for. Some people thinking we're still going to make 40 points, 42, finish 16th. So, yeah, mental. It's been a mad week, and we want to stay up. It's as simple as that. I'm going to say something myself anyway, but Chris, first of all, obviously, thank you so much for coming on and giving me the therapy that I needed. I'm nowhere near as depressed as I was when this started. But is there anything you want to say to people that are watching now and Leeds fans that are going to be going to the games between now and the end of the season? If you do feel like me and you seem to have felt about being hurt by Bielsa being let go, how do you want people now to get behind Jesse Marsch? Do you want the stadium to be rocking? What can we do as a fan base can we be that 12th man? Can we keep Leeds United in the Premier League?
I think we definitely can. I think we have to. We have to be positive. We've got to get behind the new guy. It will help if the performance on the pitch gives us something to shout about. But I just think we need to just cheer everything that happens. There's going to be a bit of a roller coaster ride. But we will get out of it. I personally think we'll be safe before the last game. I think the last game of the season will be a massive relief. We'll be going to the match. We'll have nothing to worry about, planning for next season, and hopefully can push on from there.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you, mate. And look, I know we've spoken on this show about there has been polarization between fans. There's been huge disagreements. There's been huge fractiousness between people that were so Bielsa in and so Bielsa out. And yeah, Nick Griffin, in the words of Marcelo himself, love the club always, and obviously play beautiful football, and we might forgive the loss of God. There's so much that I want to say to our fans, but for me, obviously, I've already voiced it a lot tonight, and I do feel that Marcelo Bielsa deserves so much more from the club, the way that he was outed, the way that he's gone. And I felt like this fan base, it can be brilliant. We have seen that Derby playoff semi-final at home. I know it ended in tears, but before the game where there was Believe across the East Stand and that roar that I felt inside me at Wembley against Doncaster Rovers, even though we obviously lost, and the Millwall playoff semi-finals, and even going back only a couple of weeks ago, I am still finding new bruises from when we equalised against Man United. 2 goals in a minute, and that place was fucking rocking. And I came home and my mum just said to me, I wish I'd have been there for that moment. Leeds United fans, we have, unfortunately, at times let ourselves down. We've, at times, not backed the manager enough. But look, whether you were Bielsa out or Bielsa in, Jesse Marsch is in charge now. And we have got 12. I'm not going to do the cliche of 12 cup finals, but we got 12 massive games to keep this club in the Premier League. And if you are going to be at any of those home games or any of those away games, sing your fucking hearts out for the lads, because they need us now. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you so much for your time tonight, Chris. I really do appreciate it. You've been absolutely brilliant. You've obviously manned the show well, while my Wi-Fi and children have absolutely betrayed me. I hope you've enjoyed being on. Do you reckon I'll be able to get you back on again?
Absolutely. First time being on the show, but yeah, would love to come back if you have me.
Good, and hopefully I will sort my Wi-Fi and children out for the next time. But you know, we are always looking for new presenters, mate. So you've put in a good shift tonight. You've put the CV on the table. I'll definitely be forwarding it to the boss. Thank you so much for you, obviously, Chris, for joining me. Everyone in the comments, we've had so many viewers tonight and a lot of interaction. So thank you for joining us, and I hope we did Bielsa and Jesse Marsch justice. And fingers crossed for a good result for Leeds tomorrow. Fingers crossed for 3 points, and let's get behind Jesse Marsch and support the boys for the rest of the season. Cheers for watching, guys. Smash the like, subscribe, all that shit, and go read our articles. And Scott is obviously doing the watch along tomorrow. Keep your eye on the channel for loads of content coming out over the weekend and around the game. And obviously more into the middle of the week. Thank you for watching, guys, and just enjoy the game. Cheers.